We finally got to the project that I've really been looking forward to. I don't even know what to call it. Well, here we go everyone. This is part one. Welcome to the workshop. This is Milo Studios. You know that because you've clicked on it. Hopefully my thumbnail was enough to entice you in. Not normally, because there's a lot to learn and I can't be fucking bothered. This is a new project. It's super exciting. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing and let's muddle through it together. It can't be that hard. But it will be. There'll be stumbling blocks and let's highlight them as we go through. I don't mind looking stupid on camera. It's fine. I walk around in this body.
You are very ugly.
I've been playing this guitar at the minute. It is made by James Yard of Yard Guitars. And I thought I'd hate it, but I love it. It's really nice. It's really cool. I also watched this video from Ferrotone Studios. Am I inspired or am I stealing ideas? I don't know. I'll give both of those sets of guys all the credit. I'm going to change things around a little bit. Essentially, I'm making an epoxy resin, burl top, headless Telecaster.
That's stupid.
I know. Insane. Fucking mental. But I'm going to make it because I fancy it. I'm not selling this one. I'm going to keep it at home because it's absolutely bonkers and it should look. So, where am I starting this journey? I'm starting with a humble Tele template. Crimson Guitars template. Not sponsored? Of course I'm not sponsored. They don't need to sponsor the likes of me. I'm just a twat on the internet. I make all of my templates out of the back of kitchen units because, hey ho, I own a kitchen company. So, this video is going to be outlining what we're doing because I still need to make decisions with that as well. And we're going to start making a body blank. So that's what's happening today. So I've drawn around my Tele template. That's as complicated as that was. Now I'm thinking these headless guitars are very teeny tiny. They are teeny tiny. So I've preliminarily put another border about 12 mil inside of that because I might make this guitar a bit smaller. The things I've learned online. Headless guitars don't hang up very well. So Ferrotone Studios, that was their little idea. They put enough meat on the end of the headstock so that you could hang the guitar. That's important to me because I hang them in the workshop and I hang them at home. So I'll be including that. Thank you for that, gents. You did the legwork there. The most important thing from everyone that buys Strandbergs is this cutout so that it sits on the thigh. So I'll be doing that. So apart from really, this Tele body will stick with what Leo Fender came up with because the bloke obviously knew what he was doing. We all love Teles, even if we don't love Teles. There's always one that you think, oh, that's nice. Even if it's just a workhorse, you think, yeah, she's a booty.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So I'm going to cut out my inner line. I'm going to keep a few mil off the line. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to go for the big scallop. And then based on that, we'll hold it in our hands. I'll cut a neck out. Approximately with a headless bit, glue it on, we'll see how it feels. Let's zoom over to the bandsaw before I lose you. Make sure you watch the video to the end. YouTubers always appreciate that. And like and subscribe. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but like it and leave a comment. Comments are what maketh the world go round. Anyway, over to the bandsaw. That looks completely bonkers. Mental. Kind of knew it would, but actually, I do like it, so I'm going with it. I'm also going to make this with a Gibson scale length. So that's a Gibson Flying V template that I've never used, but it was cheap online. I couldn't resist the purchase. There's our Flying V fretboard template, and here's our headstock template. This one's going to be a bolt-on guitar, so we don't need this little tail at the end. This is just for visualization at the minute. So I'm going to need to cut a quick neck template now and come up with a shape on the end that will hang on a hanger. I'll do that. I'm going to speed that a little bit up. You don't need me waffling throughout that process, but you'll get the gist. You get the gist of what I'm doing. And if you don't, well, you're fucked really, ain't you? Telly headstock, which traditionally, not the best hanger anyway, is it? Something like that, I'm winging that completely. I'll leave that a bit chunky at the minute. We'll have a little think, we'll come back to it. That idea could be utter bollocks. Well, I'll rough cut this off and I'll be back. I'm not going to film it, I can't be bothered to take the camera. Okay, now I've got that shape cut out, roughly, so I know pretty much what we're doing. I'm going to use this decent template and I'm going to run the router across it and just get this neck template correct, because ultimately we're going to use this for the whole build. It seems as though we're not being exact, but we are. We're just playing at being cool. I'm going to stick him on, I'm going to run him through the profile router, and just, I've only got to be correct on the sides really. We can make the rest up as we go along. Let's just get him nice and parallel. We know where we are. Get a center line on as well, shall we? So we can look a little bit professional. Right, whew. There she blows. We've got a really ugly bit of wood. Sometimes you've got to get past the ugly stage. It might be beauty within.
Look at that now, huh?
I'm going to mark this one out now with a scale so I know what's going on. So I've left enough meat on here so that I can get a nut in and cut it in as you would get on a Fender guitar. And that's where he's going to be cut in. Right there. So I've given myself a little bit of extra space. You need your nut distance to the 12th fret so that you can then figure out the distance to your bridge. That's all the maths we're using today. So don't get carried away with yourselves. Lovely. I'll put a little 12 on there just so this old man don't forget.
You have to use your mind.
So I don't know how big the string block is at the end yet. So we'll have to wait. I'm not going to do anything to this headstock until that's arrived in the post forthwith. So until then, we'll leave a big paddle of crap. We've got our 12th fret, let's bin all the rest off. So here's our guitar. Oh, wow. You ever watched yourself sit down before? It's a fucking strange experience. But here we go. We've got the little cutout. It's still a telly, it's a skinny telly. It's a little teeny one. That is gonna look pretty awesome. Right, I'm on board. There you go, we've made a body shape. Sometimes, stand up Paul, that's weird. Sometimes, doesn't go that smoothly and you might have to throw a few things away. So that is what I'm making. That's what you've come to watch. This is going to be a 5-part series, so settle in. Now we've got a body template, I have to make a body blank. This is where things get really interested because I'm using some spanking wood.
Hit me! Yeah!
Now this might cause a small twinge in the undergarment area. This is an oak burl. It's a little bit heavy. I've got to make a body blank out of that. And then our missing part here is going to be clear epoxy. I might do something fancy on the edge. I might not. I've never done anything like this before, but I've got a big bucket of epoxy and I'm going to have a crack. So I need to separate this off now, draw around it and figure out what shape we're going to do. We'll do that together, shall we? That involves a really technical process of laying the wood on top and seeing what looks nice. I'm going to want acrylic all the way along the top edge. I think that's what I'm going to want. So when I lay this body blank on, it's going to want to look like that. And then I've got a nice acrylic top edge to mess around with. That was technical, wasn't it? I plonked it on and I went, yeah, that'll do. So all I'm going to do is quickly just roughly draw that outline on there. From what I can tell, from what I've learned, I need to get this in the form, stick it down with some double-sided tape or whatever, and then I need to paint some clear epoxy on this edge first and seal everything in on this wood. I'll be putting some rough blocks of wood in the form so that I'm not using all of my super expensive deep pour epoxy. Don't want to go too mental with that. And then we'll see how we get on. I'm winging this bit. Like you, I've watched loads of videos of people doing this and you think, oh, that's cool. I'll do that one day. Well, now I'm doing it and I can't really remember any of their steps. We're back in the room and I've gathered around some crap because I need to make a form. I haven't got the fancy release molding spray and all that sort of stuff. And I don't really want to buy it from Mr. Bezos. Mr. Bezos. We won't be lining his pockets today. But I have got some kitchen end panels. Lo and behold, the kitchen comes to the rescue. This has got a cheeky little film on it. So I've ripped some bits of ply. I'm going to chop this down and I'll make this form as tiny as I can and just leave myself a little bit to cut off the edges. I think that's going to work. I've left 1 centimetre either end. That should be plenty. And that's only about 9 grams worth of epoxy. 2 seconds. So there we have it. There's me form, all made, all blocked up. It's not actually that complicated, is it? Now I'm gonna separately paint epoxy on the edges of this now. If I was gonna epoxy that, should I do it in clear or should I do it in black? Decisions. I'm gonna go clear. I'm going clear, that's it. Sound like a fucking Scientologist, don't I? I'm coming in, Elrond, I'm coming in.
So do you guys just not do the anal probe anymore?
So I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to seal up my edges. That's the next protocol. And then we'll paint some epoxy on this top edge, which I've sanded and cleaned as best as I'm going to bother, really. Now, I watch a channel called Modustrial Maker, and he says I'm caulking the corners. Caulking? But I think he's using silicone. If you call this caulking as a process in America, let me know in the comments. We call it siliconing because we're using silicone. So that is an ugly bit of caulking, but it's sealed and that's all we need for now. I'm going to let that rest. Gas mark 6, come back to it tomorrow and it's toasty and ready for a bit of love. We have to just paint some epoxy on the top of this now. Once I've done that, I'll be happy. It's going to make a bit of a mess, so let's get a bit of wood or something. Whoa. I'm going to put this in the form. I'm going to do the clear epoxy and let that set for a good couple of days. Then I'll come back and fill all the black holes and stuff. The ones that I'm going to fill anyway, the big stuff. By the time we cut through all this, we're going to be down to the epoxy. Don't be fooled, making it up as I go along. There we go, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that as it is. We can lift that off, leave that drying for another day. Now we're doing the bit that I've got no idea about. So wish me luck. Leave me a comment. Do you think I'm doomed to fail? I'll know before you do anyway. So here we've got our form. Everything's sealed in, I think. If it's not, then I'm fucked. But there you go. We'll wait and see how we get on. We've got some new resin from Craft Resin. I did actually ask them to sponsor the video. They didn't even reply. But I've used their products before and they were really good. So I'll let them off. Not the end of the world. I'm small fry. I'm going to have to do several mixes. It saves me calculating much. This void in the middle here, I've tried sealing everything as best I can. This wood's really, really porous, so we probably haven't got a perfect seal. We might get some bubbles, I'll keep an eye on it. That's why I got deep pour, gives you a little bit longer to figure all that shit out. This middle section is gonna fill with clear, which actually I think is pretty cool. That's gonna work in my head. I didn't really want to use black, but I was toying with the idea of colours. I do want to make myself a cool epoxy table when I do my extension at home next year. So this is practice. So I need 2 A's to every 1 B. Now, I haven't got a degassing chamber. I probably will buy one. They're not that expensive, but I want to get the big one so he's the most use, one that gets a whole bucket in. So I'm going to pour this a little bit at a time and I'm going to torch it as I go and just try and get some of the bubbles as I go in. That's actually filled, not bad, but we haven't filled this crack and no doubt it's going to find its way in there. So I'm going to mix a little bit more up just to fill this up. Well, I'm going to move this over there just in case we have any leaks. And I'll show you what I'm doing. It's also a good idea to make sure that it's level on your bench. And my workbench is not very level. That's not bad. You've got 100 minutes of work time with this epoxy, so I'll just keep coming back and torching this for the next hour and a half. And fingers crossed we'll have something looking good at the end. It's time to release her from the mould. It did not go well.
Don't act so shocked, you.
But that's fine. This is a learning curve. I need to buy a pressure pot. There's a lot of air bubbles. Almost enough so that we've just got like a weird texture. It almost looks intentional. It's not intentional. All the other fancy YouTubers, they all use pressure pots. Nick Zametti, John Malecki and all the rest of them. But I haven't got one. So I'm going to buy one. They're a couple £100. And if it means I can get perfect epoxy, then that's what I'm going to do. For now, I need to release this from the mould. Wish me luck. Well, I had to stop filming abruptly then because all the plastic and crap that we're machining clogged up my bandsaw. Can you see that there? That huge pile of shite. Completely clogged it up, overwhelmed everything. So there you go. This bit should pop off. Ah. And she does. Oh, you can get a feel for what that's going to look like actually. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? So there you go, that can go in the shit pile. Seeing as that is pretty flat, I'm now going to run this through the thicknesser a couple of times. I don't know how thick this blank actually is. It's 43 mil. So I want to gingerly...
Let us gingerly touch our tips.
Give it a skim. I'm happy with 40 mil finished, to be honest. We have got a shit ton of bubbles, but it actually looks pretty cool. It's a prototype. I do know from past experience, if you get lots of bubbles in your epoxy, when you go to sand and polish it, get lots of annoying little white dots. You have to clean all the dust out of before you clear coat. But it's not something that you can't get out of. It's a lot of plastic shit there. Let's get it thicknessed up. That's a messy operation. Right, that's it. I'm wrapping it up. It's time for everyone to go about their business. Make sure you like and subscribe. Or if you really want it, you can watch one of these videos. See you later, fuck pigs.